Every great dream starts with a dreamer, and our story begins with one little boy who dared to believe in a world where everyone would be treated the same, no matter the color of their skin. Ready to discover how this boy grew up to change the world? Let's step into the shoes of Martin Luther King Jr. and follow his incredible journey for justice. Chapter 1: A Boy with Big Dreams. In the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, a little boy named Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929. Martin grew up in a time when America was deeply divided by race. There were rules called segregation laws that separated white people and black people. White children went to different schools, and black children couldn't even sit at the same lunch counters as white people. From a young age, Martin noticed that life was not fair. One of his first painful memories was when a white friend told him they could no longer play together because of their skin color. This made Martin feel sad and confused. Martin's father, Reverend Martin Luther King Sr., was a pastor, and his mother, Alberta, was a teacher. His parents taught him that everyone should be treated equally. Martin grew up hearing stories about love, justice, and standing up for what is right. "You are just as important as anyone else," his mother would tell him. These words stuck with Martin and planted a seed in his heart, a seed that would grow into a lifelong dream for justice. Chapter 2: Lessons in School and Life. Martin was a smart and curious boy. He loved reading and learning, especially about history and the Bible. He knew that education would help him make a difference, so he worked hard in school. He skipped 2 grades and entered college at just 15 years old. At Morehouse College, Martin met teachers who encouraged him to think deeply about racism and injustice. He began to believe that change was possible. During his studies, Martin learned about the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, an Indian leader who fought for freedom using nonviolent protest. Gandhi's idea of fighting hate with love touched Martin's heart. If Gandhi could change an entire country without violence, Martin thought, maybe we can change America too. After finishing college, Martin decided to become a pastor, just like his father. In church, he preached about love, equality, and peace. But Martin knew that words alone were not enough. America needed action. It needed people to stand up for justice. And Martin was ready to lead. Chapter 3: The Fight Begins. Montgomery Bus Boycott. In 1955, something happened in Montgomery, Alabama, that would change Martin's life forever. A brave woman named Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white man on a city bus. She was arrested, and the black community was outraged. They decided to boycott the buses, meaning they would stop riding them until the rules were changed. The community needed a leader for the boycott, and they chose Martin. It wasn't easy. Martin and his family received threats, and he was even arrested. But Martin did not give up. "We will meet hate with love," he told the people. "We will walk instead of riding the buses, no matter how hard it gets." For more than a year, black people refused to use the buses. Finally, the Supreme Court ruled that segregation on buses was illegal. It was a huge victory. This was just the beginning of the civil rights movement, and Martin was now its most powerful voice. Chapter 4. The Dream Takes Shape. March on Washington. Martin traveled across the country, giving speeches and leading peaceful protests. He knew that words were powerful and could inspire people to make a change. But even with victories like the bus boycott, Black Americans were still facing discrimination everywhere, from schools to voting booths. In 1963, Martin and other leaders decided it was time to make their message louder. They planned a massive march in Washington, D.C., called the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. On August 28, 1963, more than 250,000 people gathered in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Martin stood before the crowd, ready to deliver the most important speech of his life. With a booming voice filled with hope, Martin began his famous, "I Have a Dream" speech. I am happy to join with you today in what will go down as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. He spoke about how America had promised freedom to all its people, but Black Americans were still not truly free. His voice grew stronger as he shared his dream. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. The crowd cheered, but Martin wasn't done. He continued. I have a dream that one day little black boys and girls will join hands with little white boys and girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. Martin's words echoed across the crowd, filling them with hope. He ended by saying, "Let freedom ring from every mountainside." When we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old spiritual, "Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last." The crowd erupted in applause. People were crying, hugging, and chanting, "Freedom! Freedom!" That day, Martin's dream became the dream of millions. Chapter 5. Hardships and Hope. The road to freedom was not easy. Many people did not like Martin's message and fought hard to stop the movement. Martin was arrested more than 20 times, and his family often lived in fear. But Martin never gave up. We must continue to fight with love, he told his followers. In 1964, Martin received the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts. But he knew there was still much work to be done. He led more marches and protests, including the famous Selma to Montgomery March, which helped pass the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Thanks to Martin and the movement, Black Americans were finally getting the rights they deserved. Chapter 6. A Life Taken, but a Dream That Lives On. On April 4, 1968, tragedy struck. Martin was in Memphis, Tennessee, to support workers who were protesting unfair treatment. While standing on the balcony of his hotel room, Martin was shot and killed by a man named James Earl Ray. The news shocked the nation. People gathered in streets and churches, mourning the loss of a man who had given his life for justice. Though Martin was gone, his dream did not die with him. His words and actions had changed the hearts of millions. Today, people of all races can go to school together, eat at the same restaurants, and sit anywhere they want on buses, because Martin dared to dream of a better world. Chapter 7: A Dream That Inspires Forever. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life teaches us that we can change the world if we stand up for what is right, even when it is hard. His dream of equality and justice still lives on today. Every year, on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, people remember his words and work to make the world a fairer place. Whenever we see acts of kindness or people standing up against injustice, we can hear Martin's voice whispering, "I have a dream." It reminds us that we, too, can make a difference. No matter how small our actions, if we act with love, we can help build the world Martin dreamed of, a world where freedom rings for everyone. This story honors Dr. King's legacy while presenting his life and message in an accessible way for students. It captures key events, keeps the narrative engaging, and emphasizes the power of nonviolence and hope.